to the Tinker's Workshop. Today I was fortunate enough once again to be at Davenport, Iowa at the QC Collab Makerspace, which I'm a member of. I've talked about this space a number of times on my blog site and in videos on the build we've been doing on the Silva CNC machine. Today I was given a guided tour of the Makerspace by Steve Hamer, the president of the group. And we shot all the video that we could in the time we had, but it was quite large, so we'll get to see part one in this video, and we'll have part two up on the blog site shortly. So let's get to it.
Hi, I'm Steve Hamer. I'm president of the QC Collab here in Davenport, Iowa, and welcome to our space. The QC Collab is a hackerspace or makerspace, which is a community lab space open to members of our community. We've got members from a radius of about 60 miles or so that come down regularly and use our space. We've got all kinds of tools and different skills and talents available in the space for people to make and create things and to work on projects, and that's kind of the intent of the lab here.
How long has the lab been up and running?
We've been in business. I say business. It's not really a business necessarily, although we're a 501(c), which is a nonprofit organization. We had our grand opening in September of 2010. So we're approaching 2 years. Officially, we've been in the space a little longer than that. We were rehabbing and knocking walls out. We can show you some of that space later on here. Yeah, about 2 years.
All right. Well, let's give me the 20-cent tour here, and we'll go through.
We're standing in the entryway at this point in time, which was just coming in through our main front door here. We allow entrance to the members through a fingerprint key lock system, so that members come up and put your finger on the key and let you in there. This front outside door is open all the time. And our entryway, we decided an interesting thing to do with the entryway system here was to paint the entryway with a whiteboard paint. So that's actually the name of the company is Idea Paint. So we painted the entire entryway here with whiteboard paint. We leave markers out in the entryway, and people doodle and create different fun things in the entryway space. If you got something you want to say to a member or something like that, you can leave a little message on the entryway there. Inside here, this is just our entryway, which right now is very messy. Which actually is a hackerspace. Messes happen. Messes happen quite a bit, and we struggle with keeping things picked up and clean and whatnot. But there's always something going on, so there's always some mess occurring. But this space we didn't really change much. This was actually kind of an office area. We're in a building that was formerly occupied by a computer learning center, and so they had it divvied up into classroom spaces, and this is just the receptionist area kind of thing. So this is almost dead space for us. We do have a vinyl cutter here that we've stuck out here in our lockers, and we do have the front counter here space, which we end up just, for the most part, piling things on.
This is where the secretary sits?
This is where the secretary sits, if we actually had a secretary. This is where she would sit. Coming this way, I'll show this room. We don't use our classroom near enough at this point. We've got a little echo in here. We have a classroom space. We have a whiteboard. Actually, we have several whiteboards around the space that we inherited from the prior tenant. They had whiteboards in all the different classrooms, and most of those remained when they left. So we were lucky in that regard. But we've set this up as a space. We do provide regular classes. I say regular. We have classes happening on a fairly regular basis, although it's not like an everyday scheduled curriculum by any means. But we have a lot of members with a lot of different talents that are willing to share those talents and teach people different things. And so this is one of the spaces we use for that. This is kind of a formal sit down with desks, and notice we've got a monitor and the whiteboard, like I say, and a podium there that we can lecture from if you like. oftentimes a lot of the teaching that goes on happens in a much more informal space, and it much more informally done is more of a one-on-one kind of an interaction type thing. But as you come forward here in this front room, this would be our main shop area, dirty room, so to speak. Just from the fact that we have most of our woodworking and, well, all of our woodworking and kind of equipment that's going to create dust and debris and mayhem here in the front space.
Show me the what's on the window over here.
Oh, on the window over here, this is one of our main first projects as a group. I'll have to go outside and get a shot of this from outside a little bit, but part of the architecture of our space included this glass block wall, 8x8 glass block wall that faces a major thoroughfare here in Davenport, 53rd Street. And it's just an architectural feature of the building that was is kind of nice and interesting, but it's 17 courses tall by 15 blocks wide, 8x8 glass block wall, like I say. And when we walked into this space and saw that and started pondering what we could do interesting with that space, we thought, well, let's backlight it with red, green, blue LEDs and make basically a video wall out of it. So we've spent quite a bit of time and effort and energy in creating what we like to call our light wall. It's currently playing some video. You can't really see it from the inside very well, and you can't see it from in the daytime very well either, but at night it's pretty tremendous. What we have is 255 of these GE color effects LED, RGB LEDs. Each of these has a microcontroller in it, so they're all addressable. So each individual light can be told to be a different color at a different time, all controlled off of one Arduino microcontroller, which we have so unceremoniously here just kind of hanging from the loom. We wrote custom software. Several of the members that were involved in the project, and really most members have gotten involved in the project in one way or another throughout its inception and creation here. Wrote custom software to take the information, whatever video or whatever we've got from an SD card, and the Arduino basically just serial data's that out as quick as we can. We're getting about 30 frames per second of video on what ends up being a very pixelated, big 8-inch glass block.
How long did it take to build the display?
Gosh, Dave, what was it, 6 months? Probably almost a better part of a year, I suppose. There were a lot of challenges that went into it. A lot of different hacker spaces and different people out there have done some interesting things with these lights. They're a lot of fun. They give you a lot of abilities to do things. And ours just happened to be that we've got this particular feature of our building that worked well for using these lights to create this display. Our challenges were that it's tall, it's wide. We had to somehow figure out how to mount these lights behind each glass block. Some of our earlier tests we did with some cardboard and things like that, and kind of almost, in fact, in taping the lights up to the wall. What we ended up settling on here was a framework, a wood framework that we constructed. We made a jig so we could create these frames, and glued and screwed all that together. And then we created these cones as a reflector to hold the lights. That's nothing more than actually it's a shower curtain a shower enclosure plastic that we buy at our local hardware store. And we created or built a vacuum former, which is actually, you can look at over there. It's on the wall over there by the sign not to forget to turn it off or we burn the place down. We created a vacuum former. We created a, come over here and get this, we created a mold that we fiberglass. This was actually created, one of our members, Dave Landkamp, is a very good man with fiberglass, and we taught a class in Dave taught a class to the membership in fiberglassing, and during that class I created this with Dave's help. which was intended as our mold for our plastic enclosures for our lights. So this is foam board inside with the fiberglass cover on the outside that we used as a mold for vacuum forming. We actually had to create the vacuum former as well. And then once that all happened, we actually cut this plastic up into little sections and formed 255 of these reflector cones, we'll call it. Those cones then get stapled into our framework here. You can see part of it, we're not quite done with the wall. We've still got these last two rows to put up. That's coming soon. And the cones basically just get stapled in, and then the lights themselves actually, you saw earlier I took one of the diffusers off one of the lights. They'll actually just snap off of here. And we punch a hole in the back side of the cone where we left an area there. And the light can just fit into there and be retained by the diffuser then when we pop it on. So it all goes together like that. We had to take the lights themselves were actually part of a Christmas light display that General Electric has put out. And we bought several of them that were in a snowflake pattern. And so we had to disassemble them from that snowflake pattern. But then we found out that our lights, the spacing between the lights was too tight for us to actually reach for our needs. So we actually had to go in and splice wires in between all of our lights. So every one of the lights up here, save for a couple of rows which were from a different string, has been cut apart and spliced and put back together.
In other words, lots and lots of splicing.
Lots and lots and lots of soldering, hours upon hours of soldering. And then the whole thing goes up, actually. One of the easiest way that we figured to be able to suspend this and hang it and get it up there in position was we went up to the ceiling and put a couple of eyelets in the ceiling there, and then ran ropes up through the eyelets. So the whole thing actually kind of slides up there like a window shade. We raise it a section at a time. There's actually three sections currently on the wall. Each section is five rows tall, so we've got 15 going so far. It's a total of 17, so we've got these last two to put on here. But the whole thing goes up like a window shade, basically. We put the top section in first and hoisted it up. Then most of the weight is actually just sitting on the ledge here, but the ropes help to hold it up. And then you see we've got a couple of shower curtain spacers that go against this back wall to kind of help hold it against the front glass block. Bunch of different, crazy little things have to happen to make this all come together and work. But boy, the first night when we were out in the parking lot, and that's where you actually see the display is out in the parking lot, and it started running some video and some test patterns that we'd written and whatnot. We're all out there in the parking lot high-fiving each other and thinking, oh, we've done something pretty crazy here. Really nice. That was one of the biggest group efforts of the lab as a whole to put that together, to have as a kind of a showpiece for our hackerspace.
For more information about the QC CoLab, go to www.qccolab.com.